So what defines genocide? Genocide is the murder or extinction of a group of individuals based on their ethnicity, nationality, religion, or race.
In 1606, the Dutch navigator Willem Jason first landed in Australia. In 1770, a British exploring vessel, captained by James Cook, landed in Australia, claiming the land for the British Crown, and thereby adding it as a colony to Great Britain's expansionist empire.
Australia has a large territory that has been left isolated in the far southern seas. It has a vast area of deserts in its territory. The combination of different geographical drawbacks make the shape of the continent compact and solid. Furthermore, because a huge part of the territory was dominated by deserts, the cities were all on the coastline. There are few gulfs and seas running far inland. Before the British colonization, the population of Aborigines averaged from 300,000 to 750,000 and were the primary residents of Australia. But in the 1920s, their population was recorded to be around 75,000. Moreover, in the early 20th century, Australia was racially, politically, economically, and culturally an outpost of Great Britain. Nearly all 5 million Australians were of English, Scottish, Welsh, or Irish nationality. Today, Aborigines make up around 2 to 2.5% of the population of Australia. Of their distinct languages, once 200 in number, now only about 20 remain. Life expectancy and crime rates are also worse for the Aborigines.
The Aborigines were displaced and eradicated through expansion, enslavement, and the instatement of restrictive laws. Moreover, British epidemics, compounded by destitution, malnutrition, alcohol, and other drugs, accounted for the annihilation of the people. The targets were the Aborigines, or the indigenous people of Australia. They were seen inferior by the British, and as stated by the Professor S.D. Porteous, education has no effect on the fundamental weakness in the mentality of the Aborigines. So they were seen as barbarians, and also there was a clash of religious traditions and cultural differences between the two societies, along with a British want for further expansion. By 1900, Australia's government and church agencies had instituted a policy of removing Aboriginal children from their families and placing them in foster homes and institutions where they could be raised. This policy caused a dramatic decrease in Aboriginal populations due to displacement. It was known as the Stolen Generations and is a major component of the Australian Genocide. Also, the genocide included instances of violence and enslavement, such as the Coniston Massacre and sexual assault, which was frequent.
So, what was the international community's response to the genocide? Well, the international community continued to hold strong connections in trade and migration with Australia. Basically, the rest of the world was oblivious and stood as a bystander while thousands of innocent people perished under the genocide. So, how did the genocide end? An ambitious program was introduced in Australia after World War II that welcomed people regardless of their origin into the country in order to combat labor shortages. There's actually two primary documents. Constitution Act 1975 Section 1A said the Parliament recognized that Victoria's Aboriginal people as the original custodians of the land on which the colony of Victoria was established. And there's another Racial Discrimination Act of 1975 made discrimination illegal and promoted equal rights for people of all races, ethnicities, nationalities, and religions, which stated the rights of Aborigines. So, have there been any attempts made to bring those responsible to justice? Well, there have been no attempts. Recently, the Australian government has released apologies to all Aborigines. The primary roadblock was that Aborigines have very limited rights and most were illiterate. No real culpable can be identified except all the European migrants. Everyone who supported the genocide and mistreatment of people.
In order to avoid similar tragedy, the global community must protect the rights of indigenous people. A step has already been made towards this in the form of the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. Overall, the global community must disapprove of aggressive expansion and overall selfishness of individual countries. In conclusion, the global community should promote all countries in the world to work together to fix the world's issues.